I grew up on this aside from one ingredient. Well, actually, aside from most of these. My mom made it a little different. I've kind of doctored it up over the years and made it the way we like it, but you're just going to get a roast. I prefer a rump roast. This is a chuck roast. It's a little bit fatty, but it is so good and tender. I'm doing a packet of au jus and 1 can of beef broth, and then I'm going to do a packet of brown gravy, and then I'm also going to throw in a packet of ranch. Now, I have played with this over the years, and this is one of my favorite ways to make it. It just is so savory and delicious, and the house smells so good when this is cooking. But I do have a secret ingredient. This is something my father-in-law taught me, and I promise you, you will never have a more tender roast if you don't forget the secret ingredient, and that is Coke. You can also use Pepsi. He used Pepsi. I use either or. I have not noticed a difference, but there is one trick to making this recipe turn out, and that is you have to take a sip of the Coke or Pepsi while you're doing it. That is my favorite part of making this recipe, is I get to sip on the Coke while I'm doing it. But I'm pouring that whole 20-ounce bottle in there, or is that 16 ounces? I think that's 16 ounces. I'm pouring that whole bottle of Coke in there, and then I'm going to pour in about a half a bag of carrots. Again, this just depends on your family, if you have more people or less people, or you really love carrots, or maybe you don't like them that much. But I poured in about a half a bag of them, and then I also peeled up some russet potatoes and put those. You could also do red potatoes or even yellow potatoes, I suppose, but I usually just use russet potatoes. So I peeled those, rinsed those, and I'm stuck those in there. I did stir it up a little bit, but I leave some of the seasoning on the meat. It's totally fine. And then you're going to put this on the lowest setting for the longest amount of time possible. The longer the time, the more tender the roast. So just remember that. And then the best part of this recipe is the rolls. We eat these. I really should probably make 2 dozen of these because we eat them up and kind of fight over the last one. So I'm just using these little reusable muffin tins. Listen to me. These little muffin cups, and I'm going to stick these frozen rolls in there, and then I just cover them. They need to rise for several hours. So I go ahead and do that when I put the roast in the morning, and that way they are good and thawed out when it's time to bake them. And these are so good. Think like Texas Roadhouse, not quite as good as Texas Roadhouse, but really close to that. This is about 8 hours later. It is so tender and so juicy and so savory. The flavor is just amazing. I like to kind of cut mine up and mix it together, and I do pepper on it and then serve with those rolls. And this was like my favorite meal growing up. I know for my birthday, my mom would make this meal for me. That's what I would request. It is so good.